Yeah, phenomenal win. We'll talk about that one. Really, two wins. Atlanta and DC were off the charts. Uh, both of them scoring two goals in extra time to win. St. Louis with a massive, unbelievable, according to MLSsoccer.com,
Hmm.
shocking win at Austin in their first ever game. All of it on Apple TV Plus, free to everybody to watch. I'm really interested to see what the numbers are, but I want to ask you what your takes were on the overall picture quality, the overall presentation. I know you sat down and watched 360 for a while. Tell me what your thoughts were.
It's night and day improvement. I mean, come on. I feel like we were in the Stone Ages now, looking back at it with ESPN. I'm so grateful that we're on Apple TV right now. And I mean, even for me, I don't have cable. So this was incredibly convenient for me to just be able to throw on the TV. I got the Apple TV app on there. Everything was like super easy to maneuver to. MLS has like literally its own tab within Apple TV on the app. I mean, that was so convenient. All the content is there. Versus like ESPN, where I gotta like go on the app, go to like ESPN Plus, then scroll a ton so that I can find the MLS games. And then, if it so happens that like Atlanta's playing Red Bull, can't watch that game. Atlanta's playing NYC, can't watch that game. So I think it's just kind of like an overall. I think it was a phenomenal improvement, and obviously we'll dive into a bit more like the details and the features. But I would say just on the like a high level overview, I think it's gonna be a game changer for the league.
It's really tough to pick a spot to start. Um, so, and again, maybe it's the new cool thing that's making me super hyped about it. But goodness me, I mean, this was you put it perfectly, night and day ahead of ESPN. I think they put a game on Fox Sports and they went side by side the Apple TV versus Fox Sports comparison of the setup. Apple TV had this beautiful, $1 million studio. They were everything was live and it looked like the guys at Fox had a tarp held up behind them. Like there were two guys just holding up a tarp that was saying like, you know, opening day or whatever. Like it was garbage. And then we moved to the picture quality itself. The first thing I said when I turned on Nashville City was, "Oh my god!" Because you looked and you could see the players' faces, you could see their uh, numbers. I mean, again, maybe that was a connection thing for me, but the quality of the picture is levels clear of what ESPN was. And you're right. The other thing that goes really nicely with that is the fact that Apple TV cares about this league. It has its own tab. Everything is right there. Um, it's not hidden. I remember ESPN Plus. I would have to scroll either through all of the leagues and get like 10 down to find MLS, or I'd have to scroll down to soccer, then past four different leagues to go to MLS, and then scroll through all my games. And you're right, the blackouts ridiculous. The blackouts were so bad. You couldn't watch your favorite team because there was a blackout for your local TV provider, which was fine. But so many people started cutting the cord and forgetting, about any of that stuff, and then they couldn't do that. So it is night and day clear. But my favorite part, and I want to hear your take on this, was the MLS 360 whip around show. Something we have been asking for years. If they were going to play multiple games at the same time, how are we going to be able to follow all of them? You've got Red Zone for NFL that they love to do that type of stuff. This was a game changer for me. And we're going to use that term a lot because it really was. For the first time, we were able to sit down and just get the highlights in real time of what was happening during the game. They played clips from different, it felt like I was watching NFL Red Zone, but for MLS. And it was phenomenal. And especially this week, because it couldn't have been a better week to do it. In the last 7 minutes of the games, we're jumping between screen A, screen B, screen C, seeing late minute goals go in and everybody losing their mind. It was a fantastic time to do it, and I loved it. I really want to know what you thought.
Yeah, I mean it's such a like fantastic thing to add in. And I was thinking about it earlier today. I'm like, I don't understand why other leagues don't have something like this. Like I kind of really briefly remember that NBC did something with the Prem for that. I want to say it was like the season right before they went to Peacock that they had like a goal zone. And I don't remember if it was just decision day or if it was like the whole season, but it was like such a great feature for them to add in just to like constantly have like some kind of action to be watching because like something is like usually going on. I mean, if you have enough games playing at the same time, something's probably going on. So it was like it's such a great feature for them to add in. And I loved like the kind of casual nature of like everything that was going on, like the chats that were going on. It wasn't like, oh, we have to give this like game by like play by play breakdown of the game. It was like we're just gonna chat MLS related stuff, and then when a highlight pops up, let's talk about it. So I thought that was fantastic. I think one of the best things that MLS 360 is going to bring to the table is to give sports fans like more action because I feel like there's a lot of times where you watch the games and it can get really like dull and boring. I mean, you and I have live streamed a number of games where that's happened. It's like it's a 1-0 game with like a goal in the 60th minute or something and it's just like nothing is going on. But with MLS 360 you kind of get rid of that cuz now you can just focus on the action points. So when like Philly has a 4-1 game, that's 5 goals that you get to watch throughout like the 90-minute span that MLS 360 is like showing. So I think that's going to be a great way to get new people into the sport because I feel like the stigma with the sport here in the US is that like, oh, it's slow, it's low scoring, it's boring. Okay, well then watch MLS 360. You're going to get all the fun, exciting highlight points.
Yeah, no, that's a really good point. I imagine that those same people who are saying it's too slow and boring are the same ones who are living for the 0-0 draw for Everton versus Leeds. They just love that type of stuff. But MLS too slow. Um, no, so the other you mentioned the casual nature of it, and that is MLS in a nutshell. Everybody in Europe wants to be these perfect, preppy little, uh, you know, we're going to this game to talk about this. We're going to this game to talk about that, and they have to give the exact. This is Sasha Question and BWP just chilling, like making fun of
Yeah,
each
they're just
other,
hanging out.
making jokes,
Yeah.
and that's what it needs to be. It's so much again, it's more welcoming that way. It's like you're sitting along with a bunch of people just chatting MLS, learning about things, and really you can learn a lot about it, right? You can listen to Sasha Question, 99 assists. I didn't know that before I started. I mean, I probably had an idea, but I didn't know he was on that. And they made sure you knew it throughout the entire MLS 360 by
Oh,
reminding
they
him that
made
he
sure
was.
they made sure he knew it too.
Oh yeah, they didn't let him forget it, right? And again, just things like that they can add the insight to it. They're a great personality, a great team. Um, there are times I wish it was a little more structured and serious. Like I think Taylor Twellman like walking up to the camera and like screaming at it as he's walking off to get like a cupcake or whatever. I think that's a little overboard. But I like how it's not super scripted. I like how it's chill. I like how it's uh you know, it's a bunch of guys and gals sitting around watching soccer, talking soccer. And that's what MLS is. That's what it needs to be. It's casual, it's fun. It is exactly what that is. So that's my take on it. Did
Yeah,
you
no, I would agree
have
with you.
any
I think
I was gonna ask, did you have
to have any
any
what?
quality issues? Any video or audio quality issues?
Uh, um, no, I don't think I did. Not that I can remember, but I think you remember you said something about it. You having a couple issues.
Yeah, that was why I was asking because again, clear of ESPN. The video is better, the audio is better, the commentary teams, by the way, much better. Every single commentary team was a fantastic group of people. So it was really, really cool to hear that. Um, during Vancouver Real Salt Lake, it was like every 5 minutes the audio would like cut out and then like go to a crescendo back to the um back to like the normal volume. So it would go like staticky and all the way up to normal volume, and do that every 5 minutes or so. I mean, the video is fine, but that audio is the only issue. But the reason I ask is because that's phenomenal. The fact that they threw this all together and they got all of this stuff done with only really that one blip, and it only happened to me and not you. Like the production side of it is fantastic as well. It's so good. Um, is there anything you'd like to see them do a bit better? Is there anything you're like, man, I wish? Because it's the first time they're doing this. There are going to be bumps. There are going to be kinks. Is there something you saw that you're like, man, I really wish they did this better?
I'd have to think on that one a little bit more. I don't know if I have anything off the top of my head, but I can guarantee you there's probably stuff that they can do to improve things. I would like to see some more people like get involved in the 360 show. I'm not saying that that won't happen, but obviously we only seen it once so far. But it'd be cool to see some more faces kind of get involved, and I would love to just like see some of these guys' personality like off the field. Just like I knew nothing about like Sasha or BWP like personality wise before last night, but like I thought Sasha was kind of entertaining. Like he was just kind of sometimes he was a bit like unfiltered, but like funny. Not
Yeah,
unfiltered in like a
a
bad
bad
way, but
right,
it's just like not afraid to like joke around and make a joke about something.
right, absolutely. Like I said, for me, I think a couple the commercial breaks going during live play were kind of annoying. Like DC United scored their last goal, and we didn't cut to it for 3 minutes because there was a commercial going on. And I get you have to give commercials, like that's the advertising and whatever, but that was kind of annoying. Again, small detail, right? Like we got to see it eventually. It's the same deal. NFL Red Zone does the same thing. What I'd like to see if they go to commercial like that, maybe keep the scoreboard or the running ticker going so that you can keep up to date with everything, keep the advertisement like small screen type of thing. Um, and other than that, yeah, like I said, I like how they were cutting between games and playing them over top. Where I think it'd be cool if they like brought up Nashville, not Nashville, they played first, but if they brought up DC Toronto, they could talk more about the game instead of just about whatever they're talking about. Like they were talking about players getting assists and things from another game when the screen had cut to DC Toronto. So they were talking about like Cincinnati players while DC was playing. You know what I mean? And that kind of again, it didn't take away from anything, but it was kind of like I don't know if it was planned or what have you. I would like to see that a little more lined up. But other than that, I loved it. The other thing I really loved was the pregame stuff. So the stuff they put out like a few days before, where they're previewing the team, they're previewing the season, they're previewing the opponent, the behind the scenes stuff, all of that I loved, loved, loved. That's the type of stuff Red Bull were doing like 2018, 2019 that no other team was doing. And now you got every team doing mic'd up, doing behind the scenes, doing coach interviews, doing player interviews, things you just haven't seen before that give you that, like you mentioned, that personality to the player. The idea that the player isn't just a ball at a foot. It's a brain. It's a person who talks and has this emotion and identity that I think a lot of people don't attribute to MLS players because they don't watch it enough, right? You've got players like you look at Neymar. Neymar's flamboyant and he likes to do all these skills and tricks and stuff. And Tepe, from Real Madrid, loved arguing with refs and kicking people, right? Like these people, you knew what they were like. But MLS doesn't have that because we never had that exposure before. So I'm really excited to see where that takes us uh, going forward.
Yeah, I think they have a ton of content on there from what I noticed. I just kind of wonder like how many fans are gonna care about a lot of that content. Like I know that they kind of have. I saw there was something on like highlighting a couple of key players in MLS's history. I think I saw like Uh, Carlos Ruiz. I saw Clint Dempsey. I think I saw Zlatan on there. But like, if you're, I would honestly just kind of guess that like 80%, if not more, of people probably one either like don't know who Carlos Ruiz is, or two probably don't care to like learn about his history in the league. Just because like if you're not a Galaxy fan and you're not a diehard of the league, you're probably not going to watch that stuff, you know?
Yeah, yeah, I completely agree. And that was actually my last question on this topic was how much did you think this affected the group? Because I loved it. I know you enjoyed it, and I know a lot of the other MLS fans enjoyed it. But what did the casual think about it? And I would agree with you. I would agree that there's so much there that the casual might have gotten overwhelmed, for lack of a better term. Been like, there's too much here. I'm not even going to bother trying to figure it out. Um, you know, I think maybe the casual soccer fan, like the guy or gal who sits down and is like, man, I really enjoy soccer. Like, I want to know who these people are. I want to know a bit about the league's history and let me dig into it. I think they would enjoy that, but I think the Euro snobs or the people who think MLS is bad, you're not winning them over. So that's why I think this isn't targeted towards winning people over. This is targeted at getting new people to enjoy them. That is where I'm kind of seeing this. And I told you that yesterday. I'm tired of trying to bring the haters over. Let them hate. I don't care. Because here's the end of the deal. We can sit here, we can tell every story on Apple TV, on this podcast, on every podcast known to man. We could put YouTube videos out, we can put it on mainstream media, we can put it everywhere. The person who doesn't want this league to be considered good will always say, "Yeah, but." Yeah, that was cool, but it's not this. Yeah, that was cool, but it's not that. Yeah, they did that, but Barcelona did it better. Right? They're always going to have some excuse. So stop trying to win them over because they're feeding off of you trying and then failing. They're like, haha, you're always going to be the league that tries and fails, while my league over in Europe that I never get to watch live is going to be superior forever. So just let them have it, right? Let's bring the people who haven't been exposed to that yet into the league. Let's let them grow it naturally. And when I was talking with some of these people in the Reddit thread, we're doing a whole new series. We'll talk about it at the end of the episode. But every time that they talked about getting hooked onto their team, it was when they were at a game live or when they watched it on TV or they experienced something crazy. So let those people, watch the one big game a year, right? The LAFC LA Galaxy at the Rose Bowl, the Hudson River Derby, right? The MLS Cup final from 2022. Then maybe you get 3% of them saying, "Oh, that was actually a really good game. Maybe I should watch another one." And that's how you'll grow. But you can't sit here and be like, "Oh, we did this so that the Euro snobs can love it." Because they're not going to. Because they're going to say, "Okay, that was cool, but I can't let them know that was cool. So I'm going to find a way to show them that it was not cool." Because that's the conversation that I've had 9 times this year, and it's February. Like it's just I'm over. Sorry, that was way longer of a rant than I intended, but it
That was a
needed to be
rant.
said. It needed to be said.
Well, it was certainly said that.
Thoughts? Any comments on that? You think I'm right, wrong, indifferent?
Um, I mean, I think you're right, but I don't know that they're like putting this content out to try to win over the haters or the Euro snobs. I feel like I almost feel like the goal more so is to try to like maybe feed into the market that watches like the NFL or watches MLB or watches the NBA and try to get them to like start watching the games more, especially because they could take up that Saturday spot, which then wouldn't like conflict with the NFL, which I think would be helpful. But um I also don't know like how much of that market they're going to be able to cut into because I feel like there probably is still a huge chunk of that market that uses cable to like get a lot of their sports because obviously you can watch like you can just scroll through channels and go from an NBA game to an NFL game really easily But if you're gonna go like watch an MLS game, it's not. I mean, do you know our game's still like locally televised? Like, is NYC still on Yes?
No, so there's no local television anymore. There is one game a week, I believe, maybe two, depending on the weekend, that is on Fox or Univision or those types of major ones. But the local, like MSG Go or MSG doesn't have them anymore. Yes doesn't have them anymore. NBC South, I think, or NBC Kentucky was the one that I had, or NBC Ohio or Cincinnati, whatever the name was where FCC played. They don't have that anymore. It's all Apple TV or it's, the one game a week.
Yeah. Yeah. So then I feel like, it might be tougher for people like that to kind of either want to transition over or to like find it. If they don't have like a smart TV, they may not necessarily want to like go get their laptop or their phone to go download the Apple app to, or well, I guess everybody, if you have an iPhone, it comes with it. But I
Yeah,
think
and
it's going to be hard. It'll be harder for people to like go find it as opposed to just like being able to scroll on your TV and find it like on a channel.
sure, yeah, and I think the numbers really speak to that. And this will be the last thing we do so we don't run off because we can talk about this all day. Um, and we mentioned this number before, but there are 50 million people right now with access to Apple TV, which means that 50 million people, whether they paid for MLS Plus or MLS package or not, have access to the first 3 weeks of this league. They turn it on, they see MLS, there they go, right? 25 have paid subscriptions that 25 million have paid subscriptions that allow them access to that, right? So these people are going to see it for the first 3 weeks, and that is really their chance to try and reel people in. So I don't know if it's necessarily trying to target the people who still haven't cut the cord yet, but I think it's just targeting the people who are already there and just need something in front of them, right? ESPN Plus was a pay proper. This is the first 3 weeks saying, we have a paywall, but we're going to give you a trial, whether you have it, or not. Go on and try it, and that's who they're trying to get, I think. So I don't know. I'm interested to see. I'm really really interested to see the numbers that come out of this at the end of the week, talking about how many eyes these games have reached, because that's going to be the deciding factor. Now, it's going to be over a couple months because we all know what happens in the first week of a brand new thing. This thing was hyped up. Everybody loved it. It's going to be, you know, 15% higher than probably what we would expect for a consistent basis. So take the number with a grain of salt when it comes out, but be excited. Shall we advance? Or do you have something else you
Yeah.
want to say?
No, I think we should move on.
You're more than welcome to say things. We can make this an entire Apple TV episode. We can do it.
No, let's talk about some other things as well. Let's
You
let's
really
let's
want. I could
give
see it in your face. You want to say it.
no, I think
All right.
I think I've run the gauntlet on Apple TV.